Hi there, this is Lynn Cox. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, rapid transformational therapist, and I'm also a communications consultant. So this is a video blog / written blog. I'm following this up with a write-up as well so that I can link to resources for people I've been meaning to do for some time. So I started off in communications. This is relevant to this conversation. I graduated with a communications degree. I've worked in the field and I actually still do consult with clients. And I became a hypnotherapist back in 2019. And often when people find out I'm a hypnotherapist as well, after knowing what my first career, and I actually operate these businesses in tandem, they're surprised. Like, oh wow, hypnotherapy, like what does that have to do with communications and business performance? So there's a lot of education that is required around hypnotherapy and hypnosis. In particular, what I'm going to talk about in this vlog and blog is how does hypnotherapy relate to the fields of communications and public relations, sales and marketing? Because there is a very strong connection. So I will verbally explain this to people when they ask out of curiosity, because they are so closely tied that it would probably surprise you. So I've got some notes here, and I'm also going to be publishing this with the written article so people can go link to the resources. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the PR, communications, and writing field and how hypnotherapy very closely relates in terms of people being far more effective within these spheres, within these crafts, within these careers. So creative writing, this is an interesting one. And I'm reading from my notes here. So first of all, I want to say that when we're talking about writing, communications, and public relations, typically there's a shared emphasis on the need to persuade, on the need to emotionally engage with your audience, as well as having an altered state of mind or perceptions. And I'm going to get into that and how hypnotherapy relates to this. So from a creative writing perspective, hypnosis can be used in a guided imagery type of way, and also a deep relaxation. So using hypnotherapy, if you're a creative writer, it can be really helpful for enhancing creativity, helping remove blocks. And there are different methods and techniques that can be used to really increase focus and just get to new levels of creativity. A lot of writers talk about having writer's block. So looking into hypnotherapy would be a great way to overcome those blocks and tap into creative ideas that you may not have known are there. There is also a technique called a hypnotic writing technique. And so this is where writers are encouraged to write without the self-censorship. So the mind going, well, how does this sound? Writing something, how does this sound? Oh, does this make sense? Does this connect? So it's kind of more like a free association. And that is similar in some ways to hypnosis. It helps just to bypass the critical mental filters that a lot of us have. And a lot of us have this in many different things that we do, creative writing being one of them. And I'm linking to this article here, but there's an article called The Use of Hypnosis in the Creative Process, and it's published by Psychology Today. So that would be a great one to check out. I also have done multiple videos on using hypnotherapy to access greater levels of creativity, because that actually is something that gives people an enormous competitive edge. Certainly in the creative writing field, but also in other fields, marketing, public relations, sales, and even engineering, business, entrepreneurship. So public relations, let's move on to public relations and how this relates. So in PR, public relations, hypnosis techniques are often used to persuade and to influence public opinion. That's usually why companies either have PR people or hire PR agencies. Often PR professionals will utilize storytelling techniques as well as emotional appeals in order to persuade and sway. And so these tools do align closely with hypnosis. So PR experts, PR professionals, practitioners are trying to create compelling narratives, either around a brand or around a cause. And they're really trying to influence an audience's subconscious. This is the key thing, their subconscious perceptions, beliefs, and behaviors. That's really where people find change. And this is when I work with one-on-one clients, when they have the breakthrough, when we go through the process, is when they have a deep understanding of their beliefs at a subconscious level and then are able to change them. So that's how this is aligned with PR. And so also using hypnosis can help PR professionals, just like creative writers, craft messages that really resonate deeply. And I'm linking to this other article that talks about hypnosis in marketing and advertising, because there are specific techniques that can be used, such as anchoring, and also, so anchoring would be an association, an emotional association with the language and with the messaging. And so emotional triggers are really important for PR professionals to use. Now, I know this may sound a little bit deceptive. I hope it doesn't sound deceptive, but this is how really great writers, really great and persuasive PR people, excellent speakers, this is how they can affect their audiences. And so from an audience perspective, it's always good to be aware of what techniques are being used on you, for example. I mean, I think one of the most common popular, and I'm talking advertising campaigns now, would be something like Levi's jeans, where you see a commercial and it has nothing to do with the functionality or the qualities in particular of the jean itself, like the technical specifications. It is all about emotion, connection. So it's this kind of idea. There's a reason why massive brands with huge budgets use these strategies, because they're effective. They are highly, highly effective. And there was a Coca-Cola campaign, and it was the Share a Coke, where they used personalized bottles, and that's meant to tap into people's emotional subconscious desire for personal connection, because at the end of the day, that is one of the main drivers that all human beings have. We haven't evolved all that much past our hunter-gatherer days, where we needed to be part of a group in order to ensure our survival. It's that deep and it's that innate in us. And brands with more sophisticated methods and larger budgets, they understand this and they use these principles. That's part of why they're so successful. And so moving on to communication. So in communication, hypnosis is a really great tool. It can enhance, active listening, empathy, and rapport building. This translates as well into sales, which I'm going to get into after this, sales and marketing. I'm just talking about communication right now, though. So there are hypnotic language techniques that allow communicators to craft messages that get right into the subconscious mind of their audience. And a well-trained and experienced hypnotherapist would know how to do this and would know how to coach you or your teams and how to do this. And one of the big ones is the use of metaphor. The use of metaphor is what resonates more with our subconscious. So the use of metaphor is a big, big strategy, can be very effective. And that helps to bypass resistance in your audience. And it does then help to engage them at a much deeper level. So something to keep in mind. So I'm linking to this article as well. So there was a study in the Journal of Applied Communications Research that did explore the role of different hypnotic suggestions within the organizational context, within organizational communications. And what it did find, and this is not surprising to me whatsoever, is that leaders who used hypnotic speech patterns were better able to inspire and motivate and persuade employees. So if you're thinking about your leadership skills and capabilities, those leaders who used hypnotic speech patterns were more successful in being able to inspire, to motivate, and to persuade. So that's something to consider. So, there's a lot of real world case studies. And if you just kind of sit and think about it, and if you are in the field of communications, public relations, sales, marketing, or a creative writer, this likely resonates with you. And so the impact on hypnosis and its connection to creative writing, PR, communications, it's really in its power to more effectively connect at that deeper subconscious emotional level, and then help to influence. You're trying to influence how people feel about something, whether it's a product, whether it's a brand, whether it's a cause, like in the nonprofit or charitable sector. It does help you to build deeper connections with your audiences, and you can tap into the subconscious mind if you do understand these mechanisms. So that's food for thought. And I'm going to move on now to sales and marketing professionals. So we kind of have more of the PR, communications, writing side of things, and then sales and marketing. The things I'm going to talk about as they relate to sales and marketing talk more about how hypnotherapy and hypnosis can arm and kind of bolster up people to be able to perform better, because there are specific challenges within these these specific careers, that hypnosis is really, really effective for basically increasing and improving performance. So just kind of generally speaking, so hypnotherapy gets to the subconscious mind. This is your emotional mind. This is where your beliefs are laid down. And this is really what drives most of people's behaviors and decisions. So understanding that is the first key. These industries aside, this is essential when I work with people for like weight loss, for example, or people who are chronically feeling stressed out or depressed. Understanding that is the first key. So knowing that accessing the subconscious mind where those beliefs are laid down, and those beliefs are laid down through emotion, that's kind of your key and your first start. So professionals in sales and marketing, hypnosis can really help them break through a lot of the mental and emotional barriers that they have for performance. The top number one here that it is so great for, and I love working with people for this, is in building confidence. I would say we are in a confidence deficit culture. You kind of have your different types of people. Those who come across as being extraordinarily confident, is that real and true? Well, we don't really know, but hypnotherapy can help to build a sense of true belief in oneself. So not a fake sense of self-confidence, and not a Pollyannish view of the world, but it can help you tap into that feeling of, to kind of get away from the deep programming we have, that's if the group doesn't approve of me, I'm fearful for my career, which is more of a deep, I'm fearful of being ousted by the group because that directly threatens my existence. That's how deep it goes. So understanding the subconscious emotional drivers, and then building confidence. So in the sales and marketing spheres, let's talk about salespeople. Salespeople are often making cold calls, presenting, pitching, negotiating. Marketing people are as well too. And if there's a lack of confidence there, or if after so many rejections, it starts to wear down the sense of self and the sense of confidence, this is where hypnosis and hypnotherapy can be extremely helpful. So what it can really do is help people overcome the imposter syndrome. I did a whole workshop with a group of entrepreneurs specifically about imposter syndrome, that can really hold people back. And it's a common fear for people to have. And if you understand how to work with it, you can overcome it, and it can really help you in your career. And, it can be helpful just for building that confidence and that self-esteem. And there's different methods to doing this. Adding on to that, overcoming that fear of rejection. What's going to happen if I go in and do this really important pitch, whether you're a salesperson or a marketing person, pitching for business if it's marketing, pitching to sell a product if you're a salesperson, that fear, what if they say no? What if they reject this? Because then a bunch of looping thoughts get attached to that. So it can help you overcome that hurdle of the fear of rejection. Because constant rejection can be demoralizing. And let's face it, if you're in sales, you're probably going to have a lot of rejections. If you were to, count the number of successful sales to the number of no's, it's probably going to be higher on the no scale. And that can start to erode and just kind of lock in that fear of rejection. So reprogramming and repositioning through the subconscious mind can just kind of give you that confidence, help you overcome the barrier of fear, and just be more proactive to basically keep the fuel in the tank to keep on moving on. Another area that hypnosis, as it relates to sales and marketing, is very effective for people is to enhance focus and clarity. So salespeople in particular, they're often doing multiple things, like they're prospecting, they're following up on leads, they're negotiating, they're closing deals, they're keeping up with what's going on within the larger organization and what's going on with new product introductions and new features and benefits, etc. So there's often a lot going on, and that can become very distracting, and it can make it difficult for people to narrow the focus, because focused attention is required to be successful. I think that it's fairly commonly accepted now that multitasking isn't the way to go. Multitasking is not a way to be successful, to be excellent in your field. You really need to be able to zero in your focus. And so hypnosis is excellent for that. And there's different ways, different methods. There's a lot of different types of hypnotherapy, a lot of different types of meditation that people can do to hone their focus. That is necessary. The other thing is motivation and persistence. So this kind of attaches to the fear of rejection. You need a lot of persistence, a lot of motivation to keep on going. And a lot of salespeople do struggle with burnout. That's a real thing. Burnout exists in a lot of different fields, and there are also a whole host of other factors that lead to people having burnout. But hypnosis can help people tap into their intrinsic motivation. That's what we're after typically, is intrinsic motivation. That's more powerful, and it's like a stronger fuel for people from a long-term perspective. So that tapping into that for salespeople in particular can be extremely helpful. And determination and commitment to goals, visualization techniques, hypnotherapy can really help push through those more difficult times when you're seeing, have your eye on the prize, so to speak. Let's talk a little bit more about marketing. And I talked about this with the PR and communications. Same thing, boosting creativity. It always kind of makes me laugh. I think back to other roles that I've had in my past when I was, a full-time employee in different organizations, and, leaders trying to get the marketing and communications people together, get them into a room, and we're going to have a brainstorming session, and we're going to come up with these fantastic ideas, on the spot. Kind of doesn't work that way. It's typically not the most effective way, especially if you're dealing with people who have a fear of rejection and a fear of public speaking. You're not really going to get those excellent creative ideas within a scenario like that. Creativity is necessary for marketing professionals, absolutely. Marketing, advertising, I'm speaking kind of these two areas as kind of one and the same, but you need to come up with innovative campaigns, innovative campaign ideas, innovative approaches. And the same with creative writing. Blocks can be there. Blocks can be there, absolutely. So unlocking that creativity, particularly for marketing, communications, advertising, writing, anybody in those fields, super helpful. Another thing that people in the marketing field face is procrastination. And people in every field face dealing with procrastination. That's a big one. That's a big one that can hold us back. And there are deeper underlying reasons for that. Hypnotherapy can help you figure out what those reasons are and then break whatever the belief is so that you can move ahead and be more proactive. I've helped a number of clients with this and a number of people who have managed to be very successful in their fields and still procrastinate. And they came to me because the procrastination started to cause them more stress. Even though they were still achieving things, just the additional mental pressure and stress that procrastinating was putting on them, and then not knowing why they weren't stopping the procrastination and just getting to it. But hypnosis, hypnotherapy can be very effective in breaking that so that you can be more proactive, more focused. Let's talk about communication skills overall. So in marketing, you need to understand your customers' needs and then in turn create the messaging, whatever medium you're doing, if it's face-to-face conversation, if it's digital advertising, video, you need to create the messaging that is going to resonate with them, right? It needs to resonate with your customers and impact them at that emotional level. And also when, marketing people are presenting ideas to clients or to, executives within their own companies, hypnotherapy can just really help them to focus on being comfortable delivering those messages. Because a lot of people do tend to become fearful and freeze up when it's time to present ideas, to speak in front of a group, or to speak to somebody who you may perceive as being in a higher level role than you, or who is a decision maker that you're trying to persuade. And then overall, kind of a generality, managing stress, anxiety, and pressure. And again, stress, anxiety, and pressure, these I'll call them symptoms, are not only related to the fields of sales, marketing, communications. People in every job, I think, all over this is a common human experience. And we hear more and more about people experiencing stress and anxiety now than ever. But, when you do have the pressures to meet deadlines, the pressures to meet targets, the pressures to achieve goals, from a marketing and sales perspective in particular, it can impair your performance. It can impair your decision making, and it can impair your creativity. So stress management, managing anxiety, being able to become adept at moving from your sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is more the fight, flight, or freeze response into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxed, rest and digest, where all of your systems are functioning well, including your cognitive functioning. That's kind of the key here. Being able to shift gears and know how to move into that state is extraordinarily helpful from a business, work, career performance perspective, pardon me, and also for your overall health. So in summary, hypnotherapy can be useful for addressing a whole range and host of issues, but I did want to talk specifically about how it relates to to the careers of communications, public relations, sales, and marketing, because it is such a powerful knowledge base to have. And it is such a powerful therapeutic approach. And it's a real powerful performance enhancer. And I'm going to talk more and more about this because, you know, we're whole beings. So I'm talking really about business and career right now. But if you think about it from the perspective of, well, what else in your life would improve if you were really tapped into your like creative ideas and problem solving, right? It's not just relegated to, oh, I'll come up with some great messaging or some great stories or a new idea that's just going to benefit me in my career. It's helpful in all other areas of your life. In the same way that, oh, if I'm able to manage levels of stress and anxiety around pitching or trying to sell or trying to persuade, if I'm able to kind of manage that and get into a focused, relaxed state, which is really what hypnosis is. It's a focused state of relaxed awareness. It's quite a nice place for people to be. It's very healthy for your body and healthy for your mind. What other areas of your life then are also impacted? Because often when I treat people, we focus on one particular issue, one area of focus, but our problems tend to kind of hold hands with each other. And usually when people see a breakthrough for that specific issue or problem, as we would call it, they start to notice other areas of life follow suit and improve as well. So it's very, very relevant. Hypnotherapy, hypnosis, powerful in the fields of sales, marketing, communications, public relations. It also has that greater effect of other areas of life also being impacted because we are whole people with many facets to our life and things that matter to us. So I'm happy to finally do this vlog and blog because I do get this question often. And if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out because I would love to connect on it. Bye for now.